So the calls are increasing a lot. Now you said the structure fires, that's about your lowest, that's home fires.
House fires, correct.
Mhm. Well, I'm glad to see that that's low, that has decreased. So what do you attribute to the fact that this is was decreasing?
Well, I think we do a couple things. One is we tout some good public education initiatives. We do teach a lot of people how to fight fires, in other words, with extinguishers. We have those abilities. We're out in the public teaching them how to prevent rather than wait till it happens. So as in, we might do home inspections. We go out and offer to put in smoke detectors, replace your batteries. We offer the fact that that we come out and possibly look and offer to suggest maybe sprinkler systems in your homes if you so consider. We look at safety issues, housekeeping, and now don't get concerned, we're not looking to come in, please don't clean the house for us. But the house cleaning that I'm talking about is storage of your chemicals, storage of your gasoline products, storage of dirty rags and those kind of things, because that's typically where we see that. We might even inspect your dryer exhaust areas if you haven't cleaned those out in a long, long time, okay? That's what I'm talking about. We're not expecting an immaculate home when we walk in and we're going to say, oh, that's the reason why. That doesn't play that way. But there are things that we see as cause determination factors in our investigations to say this is what caused the fire. Now, here, let me share a couple with you. Kiowa, we've been working on a study in finding out how many fires and why they're having fires, and a couple of factors that have shown up through the 7 years of data we've looked at. Some of their fires have been attributed because nobody lives there. It's a secondary home. So when it burns up, nobody's there. Now, some people say, well, they got
How does that happen?
Pardon?
How does that happen? I always wonder
Electrical
why.
failure.
Okay.
Okay, so in the case of the recent one that we had on Kiowa, which was I think back in March, April, May timeframe, it was actually struck by lightning. Lightning knocked out the alarm system, and then it burned from the top down instead of from the bottom up. Okay, so essentially there was no alarm capability. Nobody lived there. We had a fire start at 2 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m. in the morning, and everybody's in bed. And it's black as night on Kiowa at night. All right, so finally somebody wakes up and says, I smell smoke in the area. And that's how we get the call. We roll on the front ramp, and there we are, fully involved structure fire. Like one happened in Cassique not too long ago, down by Freshfields. Similar thing, but not a lightning strike, it was electrical from an air handler inside the house. Nobody lives there. High winds at night, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, propagated the fire, fully involved at 1 a.m. in the morning, and there's no save there, and nobody was living there. Another thing we found was rodents. Rats love to eat insulation. And we've had at least a dozen fires, small because somebody lived there and they found it right away, where the rats have chewed through the insulation, the wires arced, and it started a fire on the outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So in looking at those, in that information and then sharing that with Kiowa, they can begin looking at different things to do. Or there might be nothing we can do about the rats. We live on an island, there's a lot of water. I don't know what you can do anything about rats. It's like doing something about an alligator. But those are things that we can do to find out cause determination. And that helps us pinpoint prevention. Because I will tell you this, it's cheaper to prevent than it is to respond. And let me use an example of that. Home sprinklers, which is a big topic statewide right now in the legislature, because the new building code is adding that for all new residential construction. However, the home builders are fighting it because it adds cost to the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
So to put a sprinkler system in a brand new home, roughly $1.50, take me an extra 10 minutes for a next nearest fire truck to come to your house. All right, so both is the best way to go to help reduce property damage, reduce the possibility of you perishing in there, and reduce the amount of workload that everybody has to do, you, me, and everybody, in order to replace and or mitigate what has happened. All right, so having both of them would be advantageous for a homeowner to do. However, it really depends on what you can do and what you can't do, and I totally understand that issue.
Probably 15 years ago, the chief in Georgetown was on a crusade to try and get the mobile home industry to start putting sprinkler heads in mobile homes. Relatively inexpensive to do when you're building a mobile home. Very expensive to do after it's already built in place. Does the new building code have any applicability to mobile homes? Because they're one of the really dangerous fire hazards.
And your answer is yes, it does. And I want you to know, when the building code goes into effect, it does not say that everything has to be retrofitted. Okay, that's a big fear out there. But because mobile homes are included, and we have a state that has a lot of mobile home saturation, our legislature is not totally in favor of that. Is not in favor of that.
But those homes burn so quickly, I mean.
Very quickly.
Yeah, we actually took video cameras and took 2 mobile homes and burned them up, one with and one without. And it was incredible. The sprinkler system stopped dead. There was no fire involvement. Whereas the one without the sprinkler, by the time the fire department could get there, it was halfway involved.
So just as an example of how things have progressed over the years. Now, all of us are very similar in age areas. So I can talk that back in the 60s when I was a young kid, and I will say that back in 1980 when I entered the fire service, a room and contents of this size with furniture like we have here or your couches and those kind of things, the room was survivable by you for about 15 to 18 minutes. Then it was unsurvivable. Heat, smoke, everything, okay? You could survive that long. With the advent of all these nice polyesters and all the beautiful furnishings that you have in there now and the synthetics that are in there,
3 minutes.
guess what it is today in 2012?
3 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes is you can expect to survive in a structure, and that's why sprinklers are becoming so important. It will hit the fire before it gets to that stage.
That's right. It's a win-win situation as far as I see. It's a win-win situation because if someone is lying there in that house on fire, you don't know it, but the sprinkler system kicks in automatically. You still have a better chance than you don't have. But when the fire is too hot, I don't care the water. You throw the water on the fire, the water dries up. As soon as it hit the fire, and the house keeps burning. So this sprinkler system, I see. I know it might be an expense, an added expense to the homeowners, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's for safety purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
You were talking about a side-by-side burn during 2 weeks ago during National Fire Prevention Week at the Lowe's on James Island. The James Island Fire Department put on a side-by-side burn. And it was an 8 by 8 by 8 cube that they had constructed. The one without sprinklers was fully engulfed in 6.5 minutes.
Okay.
The one with sprinklers, the fire was out in 1.5 minutes.
And they fought the fire with the one with the sprinkler system, they fought the fire with a water extinguisher to put it all the rest of the way out to hit the hot spots. And for the fully involved one, they had to use a large 1 3/4 line, which is our standard attack line, that flows about 300 to 500 gallons a minute versus something that only flows about 15 to 25 gallons a minute. So the water damage is also much less when we go in and have to do our job. So there is quite a difference in what we're able to do.
Cool.
So I'd encourage you, if you get an opportunity to see those, and we will publicize more on when we have more side-by-side burns, because we're looking currently today, the Building Codes Council has approved the adoption of the 2012 code, which has sprinklers in it. It goes to the legislature in January, and the legislature has to act before May on this code. Right now, they're poised to remove it, except for multifamily units, because many of them are builders or have building backgrounds because of the trailer issue across our state. But if you can get to your legislature and tell them about this, we'll be glad to do burns and have them come out. Yes, sir.